Welcome back to the Stocks Update. In today's detailed market update, we're diving deep into Lucid Motors, the electric vehicle innovator that continues to generate strong opinions across the investment world. With a packed week ahead, there's a lot to break down. We'll cover what to expect from Lucid this week, the potential drivers of volatility in its stock price, broader market catalysts, and what investors should be looking out for both fundamentally and technically. If you're interested in EV stocks, Lucid news, or just want to stay informed about where the market might be headed, you're in the right place. Before we jump into all the juicy details, please don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and keeps you in the loop on future updates. Now let's get into it. We've got a jam-packed economic calendar this week, and while the data points themselves are important, what's even more critical is the market's interpretation of them and the narrative that follows. Here's what to watch. Monday, we begin the week with the release of the ISM Services Index. This index offers a snapshot of business activity across the U.S. services sector, a key driver of economic growth. Although it typically doesn't cause huge swings in the market on its own, it sets the tone for the week. Tuesday, things could heat up with new data on U.S. imports and exports. Depending on the numbers, this could reignite trade rhetoric. There's a possibility that former President Trump might weigh in with criticisms about trade imbalances or tariffs. Historically, when these types of comments surface, they inject uncertainty into the markets, something investors are not particularly fond of. Wednesday, all eyes will be on the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision. While the consensus is that the Fed won't be making any rate cuts just yet, the market will be listening closely to Fed Chair Jerome Powell's post-meeting remarks. What he says about inflation, the labor market, and future rate policy could strongly influence market direction. If Powell strikes a hawkish tone, it might rattle investor sentiment. At the same time, if Trump or other political figures respond critically to Powell's comments like in the past, where Trump suggested firing Powell, that could further spook the market. Thursday, we'll get the usual initial jobless claims report. While this tends to be a routine release, any surprises could cause investors to adjust their expectations about the strength of the labor market or future Fed moves. Friday, several Fed officials are scheduled to speak. Their commentary could provide more clarity or confusion depending on how aligned they are with Powell's message. So, the market may remain volatile heading into the weekend. This week is also a big one for earnings, with major companies across various sectors reporting results. Notably, we've got Palantir, Disney, and SoundHound releasing their numbers. These names carry weight in the speculative, tech, and media spaces respectively. But for us, the key spotlight is on Lucid Motors, whose earnings drop Tuesday after the closing bell. I'll be live streaming the event, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Let's talk about expectations. Based on options data, the implied move for Lucid stock is approximately 10% in either direction, more precisely, 9.91%. However, given historical volatility and recent price action, a swing of 15–25% wouldn't be surprising. In the past, Lucid has typically struggled during earnings seasons. However, there's a glimmer of hope. The company beat expectations in Q2 of 2023 and 2024, resulting in a 3% and 12% stock price jump respectively. So Q2 might be a lucky quarter historically, but whether that luck continues depends heavily on what Lucid says about the future. Here are the current analyst expectations. Earnings per share EPS 23 cents. Revenue $247.54 million. These projections represent a 22% year-over-year improvement for EPS. Revenue expectations imply 43.3% growth year-over-year. Despite this, estimates vary widely. EPS estimates range from -0.32 to -0.18. Revenue estimates span from $233 million to $276 million. This wide dispersion reflects ongoing uncertainty about Lucid's performance and future prospects. Let's be clear, Even if Lucid beats expectations, investors and analysts are more focused on forward-looking statements than past performance. Lucid stock fell after its last earnings report, even though it technically beat EPS and revenue estimates. Why? Because investors didn't hear what they wanted regarding the company's future direction, demand outlook, and execution strategy. For this quarter, guidance related to the Gravity SUV launch, updates on their 20K vehicle production target, and insights into demand from recent marketing initiatives will be critical. Investors want to know whether Lucid is on track to meet its growth targets and whether it can maintain competitiveness in a tough EV market. At the last earnings call, about 6 to 7 analysts participated. Here's how they generally break down. Bullish analysts, Chris and Andre Shepard. Mixed sentiment. Adam Jonas appears bullish on paper, but carries skepticism. Bearish analysts, John Murphy, Tom last name not specified. Expect pointed questions about tariffs and geopolitical risk. Gravity SUV ramp-up. Marketing results from Q1 campaigns. Cost structure and margins. Competitive strategy versus Tesla. The CFO and CEO Peter Rawlinson will need to be sharp and well prepared. If they fumble answers or appear vague, investor confidence could erode. Retail questions typically play a smaller role. For example, prior inquiries about rare earth material supply chains and competition with Tesla have been somewhat repetitive. Unless Lucid offers fresh answers, these won't move the needle much. Lucid will also be present at the EVs in Saudi Arabia event from May 4th to 6th. This is a key PR opportunity, especially given the significant backing Lucid has from the Saudi Public Investment Fund. Expect social media buzz and perhaps additional investor interest off the back of this event. After that, the next confirmed event is the Electrify Expo in Dallas. There's a gap in their event schedule for about a month, which could mean they're planning product announcements or investor updates behind the scenes. But for now, it's radio silence. Let's talk about short interest, a major source of price pressure for Lucid stock. As of last Friday, 2.81 million shares were returned by shorts. 28.7% of Lucid's float remains shorted. That equates to roughly 354.4 million shares. This is an extremely high short interest. Historically, Lucid's short interest peaked around 30 to 31%, and we're not far from that now. This opens the door to potential short squeezes if any positive catalyst like strong earnings or guidance drives bullish momentum. The Friday close at $2.53 left about 15K contracts of $2.50 calls in the money. That's approximately 1.5 million shares that market makers may need to hedge, potentially adding upward pressure to Lucid stock early in the week. Based on options flow, bulls are aiming for $3.50, while bears are looking for a breakdown below $2. Lucid is stuck in a tight trading range between major support and resistance zones. Support, $2.18 S1 level, $2.41 pivot. Resistance, $2.64, $2.78, and $3.01. Technically speaking, Elliott wave analysis suggests a possible move toward $2.84, $3, provided the stock holds above $2.18. That 200-day moving average around $2.84 could act as a magnet if earnings surprise to the upside. Currently, Lucid is trading above its 50-day moving average $2.35, but below its 100-day moving average $2.64. A strong earnings beat could help Lucid break above the 100-day and retest the 200-day. To summarize, there's significant macro and micro risk this week. Lucid's earnings will be heavily scrutinized for future guidance, not just current numbers. Analysts are preparing to challenge the company on execution and strategy. Lucid's short interest is near all-time highs, meaning any positive surprise could trigger a rally. Technical levels show consolidation, but also potential for a breakout if momentum builds. The bottom line, Expect a volatile week for Lucid, with earnings, Fed commentary, tariffs, and options activity all contributing to heightened uncertainty. If you're holding or trading Lucid stock, now's the time to buckle up. Let me know in the comments what your expectations are and what Lucid needs to say to earn your confidence. Do you think they'll beat estimates? Will gravity move the needle? And how should they respond to the growing pressure from tariffs and international competition? If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you in-depth market analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.